So you've started running Facebook or Instagram ads, preferably a few weeks ago or even a month ago, and you've done one thing and that's successfully wasting money, which of course is not good. First of all, I don't want to make you panic, but quite the opposite. It's quite normal that things have gone this way because 99% simply make the same mistakes that we have all made. In this video, I will show you what you need to do to get it right from the start so that you can finally see good numbers in your advertising account again. You actually have to be happy that you're learning it the easy way, because most people learn it the hard way by simply wasting an extreme amount of advertising budget without having a clue about the subject. Facebook or Instagram ads are difficult, but not impossible. So let's start with the first mistake, that when it comes to Facebook and Instagram ads, many people think that you first have to feed the pixel. And accordingly, these people select traffic as their campaign target in order to generate as many visitors as possible at a low price. This is a big mistake. I hear that so often, but this data feeding with traffic is just a waste of money. What I mean by this is very simple. When we create a campaign in the Facebook Ads Manager, for example, by simply clicking on the top left here, there are many options here, as we all see. What many people then try to do is quite simply say, I have to warm up my advertising account here first. Then these people click on traffic instead of on sales or leads. The Facebook algorithm differentiates between the data. This means that performance depends on the quality of the data that the ads generate. The algorithm learns from the very first second. With the first ads, the algorithm looks at which people buy the products, which people see the ads, like them, and much more so. It optimizes for the specified event. In this case, if I select traffic, this event would be traffic, because we then tell Facebook, okay, we want people who just click on my page, but I don't care about the rest. And if we say, for example, I want to select leads or sales, then we tell the algorithm, I only want people where you can also optimize that they also buy or sign up and nothing else like just visiting the website. Accordingly, this also means that we do not select traffic as a goal, but always optimize for the end goal, because we do not want people to click, but also to buy. Because even if we generate more visitors with the goal of traffic at a more desirable price, there is simply no advantage for your company if this person simply does not buy. Because what good is a person who looks but doesn't buy? The quality of the visitors is then simply extremely poor, which makes the algorithm worse and worse, and you just waste your advertising budget. Also, e.g., the shopping cart should not be used as a target, because as a business you need buyers and not just people who either just click or just put something in the shopping cart. But as a company you need people who also buy or register as leads. Facebook and Instagram know exactly who is just looking or buys. These settings are either only generated by visitors who only click or also buy. There is no cheat code to trick the algorithm. Maybe it was easier 5 years ago, but that's not a problem. Just learn, like with this video. If you try to trick the algorithm, most of the time you won't make any progress. You'll just be spending your time and money. And of course, we as marketers don't want that. You should note that Facebook or Instagram is not your best friend. This is simply because it is a public company and wants to make a profit with the advertising spend that you invest in Facebook or Instagram ads. This is also the reason why you will probably often be contacted by Facebook or Instagram employees by phone. They will then ask questions such as, what budget have you planned? How much do you pay in advertising budget on other platforms, and much more? The reason why sales and leads are much further down than traffic is quite simple, because these leads, these buying people, are the most important resources of social media. Visitors, like in awareness, who only see the ad, there are enough of them on the platforms. These platforms want you to target traffic, awareness, clicks, and whatever else there is, so that these platforms do not have to generate leads or sales for you. This also means that you should pay attention to what you choose in ad management. Facebook or Instagram will always show you the best solution for Facebook or Instagram and not for you. This is because it is difficult for Facebook or Instagram to find people who buy. It's easier to find people who don't buy but just click. That's why you need Facebook or Instagram to make sure you run traffic campaigns, as these are the most profitable for Facebook or Instagram, i.e. the most profitable for the platform and not for you. If I choose the commercial campaign here, e.g. sales, then it is important that I also click here on the next page on manual sales campaign, like here on the screen, and then here at the top, that I don't optimize for landing page. If I then, for example, go to the next page here, I'm on the campaign level, then I click on next once to get to the ad level, as seen here on my screen. It is important here, even if we have selected sales as the conversion goal, we tell Facebook we want to generate sales. Then we have to make the following settings here, so that we also say, I want to achieve the maximum number of conversions of purchases. If I leave this on default and don't select this, then the problem is simply that it's like a traffic campaign, because as the name says here, Facebook will only deliver people who are more likely to click, and we don't want that. In principle, even if we have selected this, in short, even if we have now selected a sales campaign, we have to set this again twice, because otherwise we will indirectly have a traffic campaign. And of course, we don't want that. It is therefore important that we click on this once so that we receive the maximum number of sales or leads as seen here on my screen. This is also the reason why Facebook and Instagram are included in the standard evaluation. If I open the standard evaluation here, that they work a lot with reach, impressions, and clicks, e.g. the two default settings are performance and clicks, because they show, for example, purchases, leads rather less, because they just want to say, okay, look, you've now spent 100 euros as an example and got so many clicks. Of course, as a company, you don't want that. So you always have to activate purchases and leads manually. Another note here, for example, if we activate the purchases or leads column, there is also fine print behind it, such as here, where it says that the numbers are estimated here. Estimated numbers are rarely in fresh advertising accounts, but for advertising accounts with a large budget, these estimated numbers are extremely high and also very, very strange. This is also the reason why we use an external dashboard as the basis for the evaluation, because we want to use real measurements and not estimates as an evaluation, so that we can simply make the right decisions. In some cases, Facebook or Instagram estimates a bid, e.g. $2,000 in sales, although there are only $1,000 in sales in the store, or 10 leads, although there are only 5 leads on the website. In fresh advertising accounts, the number of sales or leads are not displayed at all. This is simply because the companies block each other. External tools such as Adverfly are not affected by these blockades. You can also test it free of charge. In addition, tools such as Adverfly only extend a real measurement, not with estimates, which is what Facebook or Instagram or other platforms such as Google like to do. And with these blockades, Facebook has also written an article, which simply means that if Facebook, for example, nevertheless still measures Apple users, then they will simply be kicked out of the App Store here. Of course, they don't want that. Let's move on to the next tip while we're on the subject of advertising accounts. Then there is another point that almost all of us have encountered at some point, and that is the issue of account blocking. But be careful, don't think that only new advertising accounts are affected. It can also affect larger advertising accounts who spend a lot of money on Facebook, so no one is always safe from it. The probability is only higher for new advertising accounts, as Facebook or Instagram does not yet trust you as a company. For you, this means that you show Facebook or Instagram that you can be trusted. It starts with the little things such as you have to verify your company account, that you deposit several payment methods as security. Speaking of payment methods, do not deposit the SEPA payment method, as there are usually problems with the direct debit and Meta cannot debit the money immediately, which often blocks your account in Facebook. Therefore, if possible, enter several credit cards as payment methods, so that if one credit card is blocked, a second credit card is still available, so that there is no payment default. And yes, if a payment default occurs, there is an extremely high probability that your accounts will be blocked very quickly, and it is a hassle to unblock the accounts. It is also important that you do not work too hectically in the advertising account, but rather more slowly, as Facebook or Instagram will otherwise classify it as unusual activity. For example, if you click back and forth all the time and somehow create 20 or 30 campaigns, delete them and so on, this can also lead to account suspensions. So Facebook and Instagram pay attention to a lot of things here. An important note is, even if you do everything right, have all the things set up, this is of course not a free pass, but you must of course follow the rules of Facebook or Instagram. You can also find the rules on this page, and I recommend that you read through them at least once to get an overview of what you are allowed to do, what you are not allowed to do, and for example, things like crypto or dating, you always have to be a bit more careful. Accordingly, the recommendation is to read through it once, not to make mistakes, because ignorance is no defense against punishment. For those who still want to circumvent the system by creating new advertising accounts or using profiles of friends or relatives, just don't try it, because it doesn't help. Since Facebook and Instagram can recognize this very quickly and also very well and blocks you accordingly every time, and with each blockage, the trust simply becomes less and less, so that at some point you may never be able to place ads for your company on Facebook again. In addition, a company simply cannot grow healthily if you can be blocked at any time. If you are ever blocked, you shouldn't panic. It happens more often. Just contact support. And in most cases, it will be unblocked relatively quickly. So let's move on to the next tip, which is about Advantage Plus audiences. Campaigns, which you can also find here by clicking on edit at the ad group level, like here on the screen. And this function is also relatively new from Facebook because I can set the following here. It used to be that you could say on Facebook, okay, I want to do this now. Or for example, I can still set this by clicking here. If I then click here, how we do it now, I get to the old targeting option, which some of you will know. For example, I can say on Facebook, okay, for example, I only want to reach people who are interested in the topic of sport, for example, if I sell sporting goods.
But the problem here is that people have often narrowed this down too much, which has affected performance.
What many people used to do is simply say, okay, I'll just leave everything open. I won't enter any interests. I'll just let Facebook do its work. It's also very, very popular. It's also done very, very often. But the problem is simply here, especially with fresh new advertising accounts, there is simply no data is available in the account, which can make everything expensive until you have collected the right data, until Facebook knows, okay, who is this person now? Accordingly, there is now a new function here with the Advantage Plus audiences. The subtle but small difference here is that you tell the Facebook algorithm, okay, these interests I'm giving you are just suggestions. Even if you are a bit limited now, you can also test other target groups. This allows you to save the campaign if, for example, you had the wrong target groups. The advantage here is that you can simply utilize the two strengths of a broad campaign, where you can simply reach the whole of Facebook in combination with interests, where you can simply reach people in a more targeted way in order to save costs. These two things are simply combined. And if I then say, for example, okay, I have to add a suggestion for you now, I can say, as with the interests, okay, here, the person should be interested in the subject, sports. I can select sport once here, and that's not a restriction here, it's just a suggestion, as we have now learned, so that there are simply no restrictions. So don't be surprised if you implement the tips now and your ROAS or the number of leads increases in the future. With the right ads and quality work, the advertising costs on Facebook and Instagram will become cheaper and cheaper, and the quality of buyers and leads will also improve. With every dollar we invest on Facebook or Instagram, you can simply train the algorithm better, which simply improves the results. And for this training, it is simply important to use qualitative data, so we reach the right people right from the start, as we learned. Accordingly, the points we discussed in this video are extremely important. For example, if you're paying $18 per purchase or per lead today, it's possible, if you train this correctly, that at some point you will only pay $14 instead of $18 for better quality. This can mean, for example, that these people buy more often, that these people have more purchasing power and the like. And yes, in summary, just be patient. Always test with a small budget so that you can achieve your first successes soon, right? I hope you enjoyed the video and could learn a few things. I would appreciate a like and a subscription. Until the next video.